Morning, everybody. We had some interesting answers yesterday for the question I asked about whether you'd carry a gas mask with you and how you'd feel. We had some children that said they would be feeling quite scared because it's a reminder of what might happen that's bad. And other children said they feel very safe because they've always got something with them that can protect them. Without any further ado, let's move on to Chapter 2 of Jan Pollard's Evacuee. Chapter 2. Evacuation, 2nd of June 1940. Before we were evacuated, my mother came for a few days to see me and brought a small, rather heavy leather case with her for my clothes. She was a good knitter and had knitted me a navy cardigan to go with my school uniform. She had been given a list of things to put in my case, and these included a vest, a pair of knickers, 2 pairs of stockings and socks, 6 hankies, a blouse and a cardigan, a towel, soap, face flannel and a toothbrush and plimsolls. I would also need my gas mask, my identity card, a coat and my ration book. Everyone in Britain was given a ration book by the government to make sure that food was shared out equally amongst people. The book listed foods such as cheese, eggs, meat and butter. We all had the same amount each week. Whenever we bought food, the shopkeepers would tick rationed items off in the book. In another paper bag, I would take a packet of sandwiches to eat on the journey, an apple and some barley sugar. Around my neck, I would have a large label to say who I was. I expect I looked like a parcel when I was ready to set off. The night before I left, I was sent to bed early because I was joining the bus with the other children very early the next morning. It would be a long journey to a place of safety, but nobody knew where that would be. I had a job to get to sleep as I felt very excited about this great adventure, but I fell asleep eventually and got up as soon as my mother woke me the next morning. All the pupils of George Green School were gathered in Victoria Place, where a bus was waiting to take them the few miles to Wilvenhoe. From there, they would be boarding a steam train to take them to their destination. The pupils were very quiet and orderly as they boarded the bus. Nobody could tell my mother where we were going, except that it would be across England to a place of safety. Even the teachers did not know exactly where our journey would end. I was only one of an enormous number of children to be evacuated. I later found out that on this day, 47,000 children were evacuated from the coastal towns in 97 trains. My mother joined a large group of Brightlingsea people who had come to see the school leave. They were mainly from the families who had taken the children into their homes as their evacuees when they first came from London. Some had had the same evacuees for 10 months and had become fond of them. In fact, my mother was the only parent there, as the other children's parents were back in London. Some of their parents had come by coach once a month to visit their children, but now, although we didn't know where we were going, we knew that we would all be too far away for parents to visit us. At the time, people did not like to show their emotions as much. I knew my mother would be worried about me as she said goodbye, but she would have expected me to be brave about it. My mother said, "Don't make a fuss," and she gave me a quick kiss on my cheek. "The war will be over soon, and you will be back in home in no time." Perhaps she thought I would cry as she left, but I was far too excited to feel like shedding any tears. I had been bored waiting to start school again, and the other children looked as if, like me, they were looking forward to this great adventure too. I didn't know any of the children from George Green School or their teachers, but I soon got to know the girl I sat next to. She was called Mary and was smaller than me and rather shy. I chatted away to Mary and we soon became good friends. The train was getting up steam in the station waiting for us when we arrived at Wilvenhoe, and we were put into the carriages, the younger children together and the older pupils further up the train. The teachers sat amongst the pupils to keep order and to see all was well. I managed to sit next to Mary and felt very comfortable as I had someone to talk to. Before we had travelled very far, some of the boys opened their sandwiches and ate them, but we were too excited to feel hungry. We had started off at 7 o'clock from Brightlingsea, long before the shops had opened or anyone was around, apart from the people who had come to see us off. I had not slept very well the night before due to the excitement of leaving, and now it was catching up with me. Before long, my eyes started to droop. Watching the scenery flash past the windows and the clickety-clack of the train wheels as we sped along soon sent me to sleep, and I missed a large part of the journey. The train didn't stop to let passengers on or off, but simply puffed on through all the stations for hour after hour until we arrived at a place called Hereford. The trains were changed here and we travelled on to a place called Morehampton.